Good morning everyone, I hope you're all well today. Today's reading is going to be my irrational fears, false assumptions in this connection. You have got three different choices. Yes, I know that's a different size. It was just what I had. It's a broken-eared baby cat, so if you're feeling like loving the underdog, that may be yours. You've got the Swedish horse and you have got the monochrome cat. So if you want to take your choice, see which one you fancy, then we'll get going. Okay, pile number one. I'm going to start talking slowly because this has got a really nice feeling to it, but I need to pick through it slowly, to be honest. I will start talking from what I feel initially, then I'll go through the cards and hopefully sum it all up. My first thoughts, I think, were on seeing this, that you are somebody who's seen by lots of other people with the star card down here as being very beautiful, but somebody who may possibly not see that in themselves. You may be somebody who lights up the room a little bit when you come in. You know, people are pleased to see you. You can feel it, you know it, but you don't actually acknowledge it, if that makes sense. You know, people have said, oh, here's so-and-so, he or she, I can't even think what to say there, but you know when somebody pays you a compliment, yay, and you, I don't know, people see you in a nice light is what I'm trying to say, but you always think that it's particular to that circumstance rather than something internal that you carry around with you wherever you go. It's like, oh yeah, I was there because I just said this, or because I showed up and did this or helped somebody, rather than the fact that that is you. Now your person comes across with a similar energy, but your person comes across in the energy, this may not be true, but this is the energy, how I think and feel about it because of life situations that I've been in. It's like the much loved child. It's like maybe the first child, God damn my brother, or it may be the an only child type of feeling. Actually, no, to be honest, I may be wrong there because the person I'm thinking of is actually a second child. Always beautiful. The second child is somebody who, it doesn't really matter, this is your person, it doesn't really matter what they do or how they do it. They know that somebody's got their back. They know that if they muck up, they're not going to be ostracised from the family at a young age. It's like somebody whose parents have been supportive and allowed them to make mistakes and get back up again and do it, rather than a feeling of rather a cool parenting or it feels like Capricorn. It feels like Capricorn moon type of feeling or aspects, and sometimes Saturn aspects, especially in girls, can carry on from generation to generation to generation. And there's always, it's funny, it's the boys in our family, there's always that feeling that you're just not good enough. So this is me, is giving a feeling of there's nothing wrong with you whatsoever apart from, and this isn't like a self-esteem problem, it's in comparison to this person. You've obviously put this person into the fantastic light, light-bearing sort of category. You know, when you like somebody, so you can't actually, especially in the beginning of a relationship, which is the best thing ever, you just don't see their faults, do you? It's not until 30 years down the track and they're at the side of the room snorting like a buffalo over something that's totally unimportant that you think, oh, there they are. This is a feeling that you're actually being hard on yourself. And this may be your irrational fear that you can't measure up because you're coming across as the star, which is really sweet. But you've got here, why I'm saying this, is you've got three queens. Doesn't matter if you're male or female, having three queens here is like somebody trying to change their disposition. Somebody here who's trying to be all and everything to everybody. And there's one king here at the back here, sitting here looking really happy. So you may have come across to this person, or your gets-together may have been a few get-togethers, I don't know, where you've come across as a particular person. You know, perhaps you've like been really nice or very sweet, very caring, but there's multiple different sides to you. And this could be also multiple different aspects to you and aspects to your life that this person may not know about. So this possibly could be an irrational fear as well. And the Knight of Swords here and the Death card here, it's like they could find out something about you. It doesn't have to be skeletons in the closet. You know, it could just be... I used to know a woman who, when I was young, I used to work with her, who used to wear her makeup. No, she didn't. She used to get up about 5 o'clock every morning, and she was married. So this was her husband. It's like, yeah. And she used to put makeup on before he got up. She's a really attractive girl, very sort of cute looking, very sweet, very small. And she used to get up and put makeup on every morning. Now, I can't get that myself. Don't understand it. But I've got different things about me which probably act similar to that, but without really acknowledging it. Not definitely, not makeup, but that is just one scenario, isn't it? So there's something here I'm picking up here of a stable, beautiful, lovely personality when you get to know people really well. But with regards to this person, possibly because we always put that other person into a different, on a different tier, don't we? There's that stability and that beauty. You're almost like questioning yourself a bit. So this would be your irrational fear, I'm guessing, from this. Yeah, and the situation surrounding possibly could be, because you're coming across as the Star and the Four of Wands, which is beautiful. But this one here is like, possibly here with one pentacle and the bush of pentacles over here, as if the contact may be limited, or you don't see them that often. So there's still that sort of love is in the air, or there is just a different air about you. They haven't seen the whole you possibly yet, and I wonder whether you worry about that. Because your fear is like them finding out and disappearing. Or situation ending and you having to scurry out with your tail between your legs in some way, because this is death here. This is like something quick happening, somebody coming towards you. This could be even like a journey towards, as COVID is really, releasing, as the lockdown sort of disappearing, hopefully for some of us, is there a chance that you're going to have access to this person, you're going to hear about this person, you're going to have more contact with them, and then you're afraid here possibly of the change, because I'm wondering that stability that you're coming across here, and this detached, it's like you know it all already, but you may not feel it yet, because the Star knows it, can see into the future, knows everything already, and the stable is like the best of both worlds. You can actually ground it, but you can also see what's coming towards you. But there is a feeling here with all these three queens and them coming across as the Nine of Cups, and this one card, this man, doesn't matter, flip the sexes here. It's like mental anxiety. So your irrational fears are your irrational fears. Your irrational fears are totally irrational. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of like sword cards here, and perhaps somebody coming towards you and you're not measuring up in some way. And it feels as if, as well, with the Knight of Swords at the top, there's like some communication or some action that's coming to a head, where you're going to meet somebody, or it's going to start kicking off again. Hold on. Another irrational fear could possibly, because you've got the Queen of Wands twice here. Let's just say that and I know this situation quite well, let's just say you've fallen for somebody who's an Aries moon type person. That type of person, because you've got the Queen of Wands twice now, that type of person that likes to do a lot. and you may be quite laid back in some way, and you think that the differences in your personality might not measure up, and they might find out that, and then it would be the end. Not the case that you're going to lie about it, it just is something you may have picked up. And if you have fallen for somebody who's got quite a lot of fire in them, oftentimes if you haven't got fire in you, it can make you feel inadequate. And a lot of people, a lot of fire in them, don't, not in a bad way, but they're not going to hang around and make you feel good if they feel tethered in some way. So this could be a fear that you don't, it feels to me like you've got 4 queens here. Only, well, 2 of them are the same. You've got 1 king who's under the 9 of cups. Your guy, or your lady, seem really sort of to you the way that you perceive them, not how they are, as if they've got everything going for them. And it is the King of Swords there. And it feels as if the situation is coming into action in some way, because they're moving towards you in some sort of way. And you feel that there may be some differences between the pair of you, the Death and the Queen of Rods here, that you may have to act out and be something that you're not, possibly. And maybe causing you mental anxiety. That's the best I can pick up from that. And the end card here is... Oh, there's another one here as well. Anxiety possibly could be lots of different women or men around your person, and you feeling like you don't measure up to the last girlfriend, you don't measure up to the last boyfriend, and they might actually find that out in some way. This is what you think, not what is actually happening. They might actually think that, and then that would be what you perceive as the death of you if something like that came up. Perceive as the death of you. That'd be like, your worst case scenario, maybe. It's like somebody, because you've got sword cards here, you've got the Page of Swords at the side, you've got the 7 of Swords here. It's like somebody taking something from you by saying something, possibly. Because these 2 are taking, these 2 are walking out of a situation as if it's like underhand or somebody's going to get the upper hand. This is probably some sort of verbal communication. This possibly could be 2, but it's going to happen fast. You've got somebody who I guess is your person, male or female, who's you are perceived to be quite satisfied in themselves. And you've got lots of queens going on here. You coming across as detached and stable. Communication may not have been that much in the past, and the end is, so your irrational fear is the ending of something because you think you may not fit in with what they want. You may not fit in with their past experiences with people. There may be something about you that you want to hide. And this is irrational, so this is answering your question to why it's irrational, is because it's all in your mind. In Aquarius, they may be detached, but they do like to ruminate over things. They're quite fixed in some way with their mental processes. Once they're thinking it, they're thinking it. Same as Scorpio, fixed. They're thinking it, they're really thinking it, and they're feeling it. So there's something in your mind that's got stuck in there, possibly through some past relationship, maybe where somebody has said something to you where you felt like you weren't quite enough, and it doesn't apply to this relationship. This man, this woman probably doesn't even think in that way at all with the 9 of Cups there. Or one more thing before I go, to flip it slightly, if your person's King of Swords, if your person's quite airy in some way, likes to communicate quite a lot, likes to read, very sort of, likes intellectual abilities, community, no, not intellectual, what's the word? Intellectual. I don't know, likes to talk about intelligent things. Yeah, obviously I don't. You possibly could, flipping that Aries moon thing I said earlier, you could be the one that's more fiery and feel like the King of Swords. I'm trying to think what an anxiety could be with this. If they're King of Swords, maybe they're intellectually sharp. in some way. You know, maybe they use their mind a lot. And then, because I have heard, I see some of these things, I've heard other people saying, the Queen of Wands here, you may think that you may not measure up to that. And you like to do action things rather than the other way around that your person does. Anyway, I'm going to start summing this up before I go. Your irrational fear with regards to this connection is totally irrational. It's got a feeling here of either having to play lots of different roles to try and please this person. And it basically all boils down to you thinking you're not enough. It could be to do with some past relationship. Could be to do with your perception of this person as being quite complete in some way with the Nine of Cups. Or quite happy in themselves. You know, and the Star card there and the Four of Wands down here, there's a feeling here that, you know, you've got it all. You're already there, you've got it all. But there's some irrational fear, which is an irrational fear, that is totally unfounded. And you can tell yourself as much as possible it's irrational and it's not going to go away. The only way it's going to go away is if you start working towards where you think you should be, rather than concentrating on that fear. Every time that fear comes into your mind, I don't even think that working with that would actually, to me, I don't know, you've got to take your own path, would work for me. It's sometimes you have to cut off and don't ruminate over it and make the new you, you know, make who you think you could be, who you think that you should be for yourself. You can't adapt to other people. Nobody knows what other people want. Right. And as well with this card at the end, you know, if you think this person's going to leave you for some strange reason, whether there is somebody else on the scene or whether they're, you know, they're already married, or whether this person that they went with before was a different type of person, and you're thinking, can I keep up with this? Your fear may be, and how to resolve that is, don't let them do what they're going to do. You've got to be quite tough there, as in you can't control that. If this person moves away from you, it's out of your control anyway. This is a case of you're perfect as you are, just be who you're going to be. You can't control the change that's going to happen. You can only be yourself and be your best self. Okay, I don't know if that helps, pile number one, but good luck. Bye. Okay, pile number two. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking straight away because I will forget it, and then I will go through the cards, and then hopefully maybe a bit stumble through the cards, and then I will start trying to pick it up at the end to summarise it in some way for you. That my first thoughts are that your person may either be somebody who works very hard, or somebody who has quite a stoic disposition in some way, or somebody who has to put a face on for the public, or somebody that is quite, that isn't the word, I'm thinking King of Pentacles to me is somebody that is very straight but very earthy, doesn't like earth people. I don't know, maybe Capricorn as they get older, but they not really into silliness. And the Four of Pentacles over here for your person as well, with the King of Pentacles at the end, has a feeling of somebody who's quite sensible. Somebody who focused, likes to earn money, likes to be in control of situations in a loose way, not in a sort of an emperor type of way, but likes life to tick over and to be straight and, you know, down the straight and narrow. You're coming across as the Knight of Swords and the Hangman. This is a feeling of, both of them have a feeling of watching and trying to understand the situation, possibly where you fit in, but there's a feeling here with the Sun at the top here and this card down here where you're putting bits aside in some way. Either there's my first thought, when I got the Sun and the Seven of Pentacles together, was a feeling of somebody who's, you may be very expressive compared to the King of Pentacles. You may be somebody who's quite childlike, somebody who likes to show their emotions quite easily, somebody who likes to laugh and cry when they feel like it. Well, your person may be quite different. Your person may be older than you. Your person may be married, with the Justice card behind here. There's quite... These two powers have had a lot of people in them, so I can't actually say, no, there could be other people involved in these situations. Pile number 1 and pile number 2. The Queen of Pentacles, crossed by the King of Cups. There is a chance here with the Justice card here and the Queen of Pentacles at the beginning and the King of Pentacles right at the end, that this person may be married. You may be more open, more adventurous than perhaps their marriage partner or their past partner if they're not married, and you may, a bit like pile number 1, wonder whether you can express yourself fully, and that might have been anxiety here, and you just give them little bits of yourself. And there's a lot of watching and waiting here, possibly. It's like trying to pull. It's, they both have a similar feeling, both these pals, of like blocking off your self-expression in some way. That may just be a part of it, but the last pal was very similar as well. It's like the last pal was somebody who I guess was very, the other person was quite at ease with himself in some way, or always felt loved regardless if they did something awful or it fell down. It always felt like somebody in their life had their back. The first pile made me think of somebody who had grown up thinking that they didn't always please people. So they were always a little bit sort of tentative in the way they applied themselves to new situations. This has a feeling of, not the similar feeling, there's not like that Saturn feeling of not feeling like you don't fit in. There's a feeling of possibly a mixture, or you may have a mixture of a very watchful personality like Scorpio and Gemini together. You know, somebody that's quite playful, somebody that can be quite silly, somebody that can be quite open, with somebody who likes to also pull back. It could just be like a Pluto square, pull back and watch. So you may appear like the Sun, you may be giving small parts of yourself, but these are like, by God, I'm watching you. So you may be that sort of, you know, like Pluto square, or it doesn't have to be a square. It's just Pluto. This is a feeling rather than it has to be in your chart, of somebody who is, their anxiety or their irrational fear comes from themselves through always having to, slightly paranoid. That's like the extreme of it. You're probably here. The extreme with the Pluto square is paranoia. I know somebody very close to me who has Pluto opposite Mars, and she always feels that everybody's out to get her. And we have conversations, and honestly, there's like something off a film. I know that they're looking at me. You know, it's that I know that they did that on purpose. I'm saying, well, I don't think they did. Just things that wouldn't cross your mind. And also you find people with Pluto, and not always this, but normally this sort of feeling is if they let themselves go in some way, you know, if they are out partying, whatever they've done or taken or drank, that comes out. You know, somebody's watching me, quite a paranoia there. Right, so I'm not saying that you're paranoid, it just has a feeling of, on the surface you come across as easygoing, but you got your eye out. This is what it has a feeling out. So your irrational fear from this person may be the ball started rolling, there may be blockages in some way, some sort of situation. There's a feeling here of somebody being in a relationship. If it isn't somebody who's already in a relationship, it could be, once again, like pile number 1, comparing yourself to past boyfriends, past girlfriends. There's a feeling of not being able to show your feelings, your emotions as freely as you want to. It's always like trying to control it here. And your irrational fear is probably they may not be accepted. This person, I think your person doesn't show that much emotion with the King of Pentacles here. They may be very giving and extremely kind, but then maybe with the King of Pentacles and the King of Cups here, they may not actually be expressive in some way. You're probably more expressive. and you understand it, but you're not saying anything. It feels like in lack of acceptance. I need to put some more out. There may be a fear of not just self-expression, of actually almost showing, with the Sun card there, the Magician, and anxiety, and almost like, you know, the Five of Wands is a little bit antagonism in some way. You may be afraid to express your opinion. There may be an anxiety there that your opinion, or your more feisty, more open side, may not be accepted, because your person is coming across as the King of Pentacles, which I've said 10 times. You've got the Sun here, you've got the Magician, you've got the you've got cards of anxiety to do with action being contentious, I guess. I think the Sun there and the Magician card, in everyday life, you're probably very good at acting, action, doing things, doing what you want to do when you think about it. But I wonder, with your person coming across the King of Pentacles, once again, it has that feeling of differences in personalities and maybe not being able to express it in some way. Let me put some more on your person up here. Yeah, I don't think they actually express much. What's your false assumption? Oh my gosh. Your false assumption is that somebody's left you in the past. I'm looking at these cards thinking, why are these two people facing that way? And then you've got the Seven of Swords here. Somebody has left you in the past. You may not have even understood why exactly. It feels like, you know, it could have been when you were 16 or 10. Somebody has removed themselves from your lovely... I can't think of the word there, presence, and you didn't really know why. And you're wondering whether it's going to happen again. So your bugbear is the thought of being left, the thought of possibly your bugbear is, this is why you're possibly weighing up the situation, because it hurts. And your person may not be giving you much, and you're always wondering, how do they feel all the time? Yeah, because you pushed your boats out. And you maybe, even if this person isn't married, you're waiting for fairness. And what you're getting is somebody who's quite closed off in some way. Queen of Pentacles crossed by the King of Cups. You're quite expressive. You like people to show emotions. You like to know when somebody falls for you, when somebody loves you, and you're waiting for it. You're putting out your little bit by bit. You're holding back a little bit which is against your nature, I'm guessing. And this person isn't giving a lot back. So your irrational fear is that this person's not attracted to you, when it's just basically their personality anyway. You know, I'm thinking here, I'm looking at the King of Pentacles, and don't ask me why I'm thinking Aquarius. It just feels like somebody who's quite detached, somebody that doesn't feel the need to say things or do things. It's just like, well, I'm here. What more do you want? If you ask this person, are you attracted to me? Like, yeah, of course. But it has a feeling that somebody may have hurt you in the past. Quite a strong feeling, to be honest, with these cards facing a different direction, and something, you know, something being taken from you, or somebody walking. This is like, you know, that ghosted. People ask questions like, can you do a one on ghosted? And ghosted is one of those words, I know what it means, but when I hear it, I don't understand it. But I do, you know what I mean? It's like, ghosted, I have to sort of go through it in my mind. This feels like you've been ghosted. As in, somebody you've been attracted to, they may have shown you some attention. This could be this person. And then you've not heard anything from them for a while. So that may be an irrational fear that it's going to happen again and again, or that somebody's attracted to you, or that you do something wrong in a relationship. So that paranoia seeps in. You're thinking the sun isn't your natural, ability is to give, and then this paranoia comes in. You think, oh my God, should I go and kiss him, or should I go and hug her when I see her? It's like, they just don't do that themselves. Doesn't mean you should stop it. You might actually be teaching them something that they need to outgrow of, like being a little bit too reserved, a little bit. You might be doing them a favour. Be yourself. Okay, I'm going to sum up actually a little bit before I go. But your irrational fear or your false assumption is that this person doesn't like you because they're not like you. And your irrational fear is that you may possibly not be accepted if you are yourself, but there's a really strong feeling that somebody has possibly, you've picked that up from a past relationship, is what I'm going to say. Because you feel like if you actually do something, it's going to annoy them, or it's going to, cause fuss or something. And to me, these cards here are do it anyway. You've got to be yourself. All you can be is kind of considerate of the way that they are, but you've still got to show yourself. We're all different. Doesn't mean that they can't connect with you if you show your different side. Your person comes across as being very self-contained in some way. You come across as almost trying to burst out of that. It's always that you may be putting on a more reserved exterior, but there's something very warm. You can't beat the sun. You can't beat the sun, I don't think. I'm sure he's like, oh no, you can. But to me, you can't. I mean, just think of, all those thousands and thousands of people that, like do classes where you have to meditate on who you should be, where you should be going, how you should be thinking. It would be that. I'm sure it would be. And if you're coming across as that, but not expressing it, you could actually be not being, I can't think of the words. You're doing this person a disservice in some way by not actually expressing yourself. You don't have to go rip-roaring around the living room on a horse. You just have to be open and loving and sweet and kind and warm. And who doesn't love that? My husband. Right, anyway, I'm going to leave you there. Pile number 2. Bye. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking initially, and then I'm going to go through the cards bit by bit and hopefully summarise what I can see. So there are different feelings here. First feeling here with these two Pentacards. I'm going to stick with that. Pentacards here in a position which I normally pick up while the person comes for reading, has got a possible feeling of not being, I'm going to say it, I don't know if it's true because I can't imagine it applies to many, of not having enough financially and not being financially good enough. Which you may have lots of money now, but you may have been poor growing up or not had much money, and it may not sit right with you. This is a strange feeling because we've been talking about this in my family recently, where I grew up, nobody had any money. We all just basically, I don't know, you didn't even know you didn't have any money because we were all in the same situation. And then I can remember cousins coming down and staying in a friend's house, which was very, very basic, just like everybody else's house, just like our house, and saying how disgusting, Annie, I know, how disgusting it was that, because it was just, I don't know, it was just how it was. We didn't see it as kids because we were all the same. Nobody had clothes, we did wear them, but not, always the same clothes, that type of thing. But we didn't care. Nobody cared at all. This could be something from childhood. I know this is a bit of a heavy start, which from just 2 cards. So just, let this fly if it doesn't feel right. But these 2 cards, one is basically not being in a position where you feel like somebody's giving to you all the time. And we all know this situation. We used to make jokes in our family that there used to be a guy down the road called Elon. And he used to give us clothes to my brothers. So we always used to joke, like, are you wearing Elon's underpants? This has that feeling, you know, you possibly could have felt like somebody was always giving you stuff, and it's got to have something to do with finances with those 2 pentacle cards there. Just a feeling there. The inner strength, and you're coming across as the Page of Pentacles. These are unusual cards. I can't actually find a connection with them with regards to the hidden strength and the Page of Pentacles, but the actual pictures are both changing. There's a change going on in both people. One's more, this one feels, as and this is you, feels as if it's more obvious and more, it's easy to perceive on the outside. The other person feels as if they do it inwardly. I don't know what that means as yet, but that's what I'm thinking. You may be actually trying to change and actively doing something. Your person may be very quiet about it. May have possibly been through the changes that you're working on already. So there may be some understanding there, because theirs is hidden strength and yours is the Page of Pentacles. The page is the page, but there's something to do with metamorphosis, changing. Don't know what as yet. Okay. These 2 cards here are a feeling of irrational fears, fighting off something. So these feels like fears that are coming, like hitting you across the head in some way. Fighting off people. What are you fighting off? Feels like you feel like you always have to work everything, that things, Page of Pentacles and this card in the situation, you feel like you always have to work everything, that you possibly not so much have to be a people pleaser, because that pentacle feeling is you just do that naturally. It's not like a Libra person who's quite charming and, you know, feels like they want to put everybody in the room at ease. It has a feeling of picking people up at the end of the night, or making them a cup of tea, or making their tea, providing for them in some way. And it feels like you that's maybe how you feel like you get your worth. There's a lot of pentacle cards in here, and if this is irrational fears, it's got something to do with finances, possibly, maybe something to do with providing in some practical way. Magician card. The Magician card here with this Page of Pentacles with a butterfly on, and this is subconscious. The Magician card is a great card to get for subconscious, because it feels like you're ready. You're ready not to play the same part. He's got all the different suits on his table, and you've got a lot of pentacles on your table. It's like you're almost ready not to play the same part. This is almost like a power that you get when you've been married to somebody and your kids have left home. Do you know that sort of feeling where you've played the same part for a long time and it's worked and you've raised your family, and it's like, this is my mum I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of these. There's different parts to you, and then when you start expressing them, the husband or wife is like, well, who on earth are you? Has that feeling here. Strange feeling. Now, the Hermit card up here, is as if you are wondering whether this is going to be accepted. There's different parts that you may not have expressed to this person, and these may be irrational fears that you may have actually got into one zone of being this person who comes across as very stable, very good. Full stop, just good person. But there's different sides to you, I think. There's so many pentacles in this. And the World card here is, your biggest fear is possibly, this could be very much a reading for somebody who has spent time with somebody or is changing in a life process sort of way, that they are changing themselves, and will they still be accepted by this person? It could also be in a more mundane way, that you may not be with this person, you may be separated by distance, big distance in some way, and you may have had a period of time apart, which people change, and when they come back together, will you be accepted? It's an unusual pile, because your false assumptions would be that Two, I'm getting here that your change may not be accepted. There's different parts of you that may not be accepted, or you just may feel that you're not good enough. There's still that strong financial bit here that you may not measure up financially, which I can't feel that, because I can't think of many people nowadays who that would apply for. Although I have actually witnessed it. I have actually witnessed in a boy that we used to know, he would only go out with rich girls. And he would always comment on your TV or something. You know, it was very strange. And they were always, you know, oh, actually, no, I won't go down that way. You know, it did honestly feel like the town and the country mouse, because both the people that I was talking about came into like a very sort of country sort of atmosphere when, as I said earlier, nobody had anything. So I don't know what that means in this pile. Let me put some more cards out. Let me add some more to this. Okay, there's a feeling here that, once again, there's a feeling here of you've got the Wheel of Fortune, you've got the World card there, you've got somebody who's going internally. This person's quite internal. You're both there's a feeling of change all the way along here. It could be something very mundane, like you know somebody through work. You're thinking of changing your job. Will you still be in contact? You know somebody who earns a lot. Do you feel that you will measure up? You know somebody who, and this is all irrational, you know somebody who is quite materialistic in some way. Would, you know, do you feel that they would be interested? I don't know. But the Wheel of Fortune as well could also be that you've both been different, you know, been separated through earning money, possibly different jobs. You're going to come back together again, and will you still be the same? It's got to be something like that. This isn't my normal type of read, because I don't really, and I've said in so many readings, I don't have much earth in me, so I'm not the most practical person, but you've got pentacles, 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 pentacles all over this. You've got a period in the behind of feeling slightly inadequate, or feeling like one's giving too much, so you possibly don't want to rely on something. Subconsciously, you know you've got everything that you need, but there's a period of being quiet, and then there's like, well, let me find what the World card is up here. Sorry, this is a lot of digging. Well, that's not helping me not be materialistic. You've got the Emperor card. This is quite specific, so I don't know if it's going to apply to anybody or everybody, or anybody or everybody. There's a feeling here that your person may hold some position where they are seen as being extremely strong. You may have grown up in a situation that wasn't really that bothered by position, but you've almost been thrown into this world, possibly. I'm not feeling this, but I don't know if it's just because I can't relate to it. This person may feel good to be with, but it feels like you may have to pull part. Do you know what it makes me think of? I feel like I'm stumbling through this, but it makes me think of somebody who's met somebody famous. You know, when you're pulled into a different world and you have to act out something that doesn't mean that much to you because you may not have grown up with it. It's that sort of, your irrational fear may be being pulled out of your normal world, although this person's world may feel glamorous, or they may have money, or it may be just be a totally different position. They could travel a lot. It's just different from the way that you've grown up. And I suppose your irrational fear is, will you fit in? It all comes down to, will you fit in? Will they accept you, even though there's differences here? And you're trying to work on it, when actually you're coming out as somebody, you're coming out as a magician, that your person's coming out as the Emperor. You know, that's quite fixed energy, the energy that's concrete in some way. I know who I am because I've been doing it for 30 years. You know who you are because you've got all the skills and you're flexible with them. So your irrational fear is irrational. They're strong, yeah. They are strong because they've got the hidden strength and the Emperor and the World card here. I almost had a song then. It was a really old one. I've been around the world, and who's that lady with the dark hair that used to sing that? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that feels like this. This person may have been around the world and done lots, but doesn't take away probably the inner experience that you've had. And probably your person may have actually struggled to get in the position they're in with the Emperor card there and all these Pentacle cards here, but you may have done an internal struggle to actually be the Hermit. If that's subconscious and this is conscious, you know, you may be very good at looking at yourself and understanding yourself. You must be with these two cards here. So that it's totally irrational. But I wonder in the outside, getting here slowly, in the outside world, whether you think that you match up. And that is irrational. That is irrational. Yeah, because you've both changed here. You've both made changes in yourself. Yours is, I'm guessing from the Magician, Hermit. Sorry, that wasn't English because I'm getting excited. I'm guessing from the Magician and the Hermit there, yours is internal. And their changes are external, and you're wondering whether in what is a very sort of mainly external world to many, whether you measure up. That is it, put in a easier form to take in. Right, I'm going to leave that there. That fear is irrational because just because you don't have the outward trappings doesn't mean you haven't got anything to offer this person. You have more to offer this person. You can't take that with you when you die. You can take that with you when you die. So you've got more to give. I'm getting bossy. You've got more to give. I'm going to leave you there because my battery's flashing. Thank you very much for spending time with me. Hope to see you again. Bye bye.